I've been asked to just do a very short video on some of the British Army vehicles that we come across in TFA and our missions. It's not exhaustive. There are other British Army vehicles available in TFA mods, but these are the ones that are available in our current overall mod pack. Obviously, lots of different paint schemes. These ones are all in desert, just so it makes it easier for you to judge the different size and shape of the vehicles. Should be a fairly short video. So let's have a look at the first couple. So if you can see here, we've got the very familiar shape of the Land Rover. Won't spend a lot of time talking about the Land Rover. On the right, we've got the absolute bog standard soft top Land Rover. This one, as you can see by the boxes on the wings, is fitted for radio. That means it's got a long range radio. There are lots of different variants available for us: soft top, hard top, fitted for radio, ambulances, and on the left here you can see there's one which is kind of open with a roll cage and weapon mounts and various other bits and bobs. Now for the Brits, apologies, you'll be very familiar with this, but for other TFA members it might be useful just to give you a little bit of background about this. This is known as the Land Rover WMIC, Whiskey Mike India Kilo. And that stands for Weapons Mount Installation Kit, and it's a version of the Land Rover that was commissioned back in the 90s, and it was deployed in Iraq and Bosnia, Sierra Leone, amongst other places. It also used initially in Afghanistan and was found to be significantly deficient for the conditions in Afghanistan. It had very limited IED protection for the people on board and almost no small arms protection at all. So it was superseded by other vehicles that we'll go on to next. But still a great vehicle. Really kind of good for a fire team. 2 seats at the front. You can see there are 2 different weapon mounts here available. One at the front for the commander. That's invariably fitted with a GPMG 762, MAG, GPMG, M240. And on the top we've got a ring mount for a gunner, which in this case is fitted with another GPMG, but it can be fitted with a 40 mite grenade launcher, an HMG, and it's a great light unarmoured mobility vehicle for a fire team. If you're operating, for example, in deserts and stuff like that, it would be a great vehicle to use for that. So that's the WMIC. Moving on from there, we've got 2 vehicles which look like they might be the same, but they're actually not. As we look across, we can see there's a difference. The one on the left is called the Jackal, and it's based on a lot of the lessons that were learned in Afghanistan. It has IED protection designed into it. It has more armour around it, protecting the crew from small arms fire. Again, it's designed for a fire team, really, for like 4 guys. You've got 2 seats in the front, 2 seats in the back. You've also got a gunner's position in the middle, and it has a small cargo bed in the back. Again, commander's position invariably fitted with a GPMG, and again, in this case, we've got a GMG 40 mite GMG mounted on the top, but again, it could have an HMG as per the vehicle next to it, or another GPMG. So that's the Jackal. And now if we look across to the vehicle next to it, we've got a vehicle called the Coyote. And the Coyote is obviously very closely related to the Jackal, but in this case, it's not 4x4, it's 6x6. And the Coyote, same kind of layouts for 4 people, same kind of weapon mounts for both commander and gunner. But you'll notice that at the back it's got an extended load bed. And the way, my understanding is, the way they're generally designed to be deployed is that fire teams would operate using the Jackals, but then you'd have Coyotes working as support vehicles carrying rearm, resupply, water, rations, potentially fuel, ammunition, first aid supplies, etc. So you might, for example, have if we operated, let's say we operated a platoon in TFA, so we've got 2 squads, so that's 4 fire teams. We might, for example, have 4 Jackals operating, 2 for Artemis, 2 for Apollo, and then we might have Alpha running a Coyote with extra supplies of resup, possibly 1 or 2 guys to handle the driving and the gunnery, while the PL would be the commander and the PS might be just kind of passenger. Just an example of how we might deploy the Jackal and the Coyote together. Now moving over to the left a bit, we've got the Husky. This is there is one vehicle, the Husky, and these are just 2 different variants I'm just showing. One is a passenger variant, and one is a Logi variant. Again, variety of weapon mounts available in this, very like the armoured kind of cupola on the top for the gunner to turn out. Seats 4 people. The Husky was actually the loser, or one of the losers in the US Department of Defense competition for the MRAP. So the United States did not select this vehicle, but the British Armed Forces did. It's actually built, I think, by a kind of military subsidiary of International Corporation, International Hollister. So Husky, it's fairly self-explanatory. Imagine it's kind of a British MRAP. Seats 4, fitted for radio, got some storage capability, and it's also got some self-protection capability. Also has some IED protection designed into it. Now we've got this slightly odd vehicle, which is called the CLV. And this was originally designed by the company Iveco, Italian company. And the British Ministry of Defence ordered just under 400 of these, with the aim being that it was going to replace things like the Scimitar light tank and some versions of the Land Rover. CLV stands for Command and Liaison Vehicle, remotely operated weapon on the roof. I'll cut to the chase. These were delivered between 2006 and 2009. They went into some limited usage, and in 2018 the British Ministry of Defence withdrew them all, put them all up for sale. So they're no longer used by the British Armed Forces. They're in our mod pack in Arma. One thing I would say, I haven't seen one in Arma, but one thing I would say is that there are more than 400 of these now that were built and are now being used in Russia, predominantly by Russian military police units. So it could be a huge PID issue if we operated this vehicle, if there was a Russian version, the Russian variant of this available in Arma. I don't know if it is. I haven't seen it. So that's the CLV. And then finally, we'll just go to some couple of Logi trucks. So these first 2 are the MAN HX58. That's a 6x6 truck. Lots of different configurations, flatbed with container, fuel truck, troop carrier, repair truck, etc., etc. You get the picture. So that's the HX58. And now if we move over to the left, we've got the last 2 vehicles you'll see are 4x4 trucks, and this is the HX60. So shorter truck, 4x4, but same types of variants. You've got cargo, troop carrying, etc., etc. It's a Logi truck. There are 5 passenger spaces in the cab. Sorry, correction. There are 5 spaces in the cab, driver and 2 passengers. There's also a roof hatch, so you can turn out if you want to. So super quick video, just a few minutes, just to run you through some of the British vehicles if you're not familiar with them. So we've got the 2-man trucks, HX60, HX58. We've got the CLV. We've got the Husky. We've got the Coyote, the Jackal, the Land Rover Wimic, and the good old Landy. So I hope that's been useful. See you on the battlefield.